Good morning, Maurillia. How are you?
Good morning, my brother. I'm good. I'm good. And how are you?
Yes, I'm good, thank you. I'm good. I always take the opportunity to thank people for participating in this project. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're
Yeah.
most welcome. You're
Right.
most
We're going to go on a journey with a few questions and
yes,
see how it goes from there. I'm going to
yes.
start off with, where were you born?
I was born on a small island, one of the big ones in the Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago. I was born on in San Fernando, Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah.
Fantastic, fantastic. I can't say that I've been there. No, I haven't been there. But
Okay.
love to do,
Okay.
love to one day, love to one day.
Okay.
Yeah. So have you got brothers and sisters?
Yes, I do. I've got three sisters, and
Okay.
I am the third of four.
So no brothers then?
No brothers. No, no, no. Four girls, four girls.
The third
Yes.
of four, right, right. What about mom and dad?
Yes, they are still alive. They are still
Yeah.
alive. They're still around. They're still
Yes,
around.
yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
And full-born Trinidadians, as they say.
Full born Trinidadians. Yes, yes,
Good,
yes.
good, good,
As
good,
they say.
good. So we're gonna dig back into your younger years in terms of you growing up and going to school. What was that like?
Um, wow, that was tough.
Was
Um,
it?
yeah. Growing up, when I was born, you grew up without a father. He wasn't there. He wasn't there, so it was just a
Oh,
home with a mother and a grandmother. Um, you know, he was one of those fathers who unfortunately didn't stick around, and when he made children. So I never remembered him ever being there. Um, when I was young, but he did appear um, around the age of 10. I remember he came for a spiel, for a time. He came between that time. Um, and I guess, as we would say, or as I would say, he tried his best, I think, to be a dad, like picking up from where he wasn't there, doing
yeah.
little things. He took us to school a couple of times, couple of mornings. He came and, you know, in just out of the blue and asked mom if he can take us to school, like just out of the blue. So I remember it was just a couple of times, and he did it like religiously, like probably for a week, if that. And and then after school as well, he would ask her, you know, can I bring them back home? So he did. I did remember him. Oh my God, probably he did that for a short period, like for about a couple of months, if that, and then he was gone again. So
Really?
yeah,
So when you said he was
yeah.
gone again, did he reappear like that time and time again, or did he just disappear forever?
No, he appeared time and time again after. As we got older, then I realized, well, yeah, he was just literally popping in and popping out,
Oh
popping
my
in,
goodness.
popping out. So yeah, I realized that with him. So when I grew up, was just mother and grandmother.
Wow,
Yes,
wow, wow, wow.
yeah.
So what about your actual schooling then? How did that go? How did you find that?
Um, School was tough because out of the four girls, um, it wasn't easy in the sense that I didn't really get supported like motherly.
Mm,
Yeah, yeah. I
mm.
didn't get supported motherly. And anything I did, it was always not good enough.
Oh my goodness. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness. So,
yeah,
so
yeah.
how did you find yourself struggling with the subjects out in school? Maybe because of that,
Um,
or
yes, yes, because every time I had an exam or had any sort of spelling test or anything, and I got stars, no matter if it was silver or green or yellow or red, it meant different things. And I reach home and it wouldn't even be like an appreciation. It was always, and why you didn't get the gold star? Why
oh,
wasn't it silver star?
oh, right, right. And
You know?
did you find that that sort of continued throughout your school years, or did you get better when you got older, or what?
No, 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 it just got worse. It just got worse. So I developed, and I only realized this when I had therapy, about a couple of years ago for my PTSD after my time in service.
Mm.
Um, I was never appreciated. So everything I did, I accustomed hearing or believing that I was never good enough. So
Right,
so for
right.
me, I didn't know or I couldn't understand why people would be so nice to me, like genuine people be nice
Really?
to me. So I wouldn't be able to tell the difference of who's really genuine and who's not.
Right. So what about your sort of school education in terms of qualification? Did you manage to get anything done at
Um,
school?
yes, I did get qualifications. I had maths, English, social studies, and art and craft. Um, and I got the basic sort of
Okay.
level at the time. I got level threes and fours.
Yes. So what ambition did you have then? Did you want to be like a scientist or something like that when you...
I told myself that I was going to be a artist. I was going to be an artist. That was what I wanted to do.
Oh,
Be
so
an artist.
why an artist? Was it
Why?
just something that...
Why? Because I picked up. I used to draw a lot. I
Oh,
used to draw like it used to be more of cartoon characters.
oh,
And yeah, and I used to watch them on the television or watch them in a drawing book and just sit down there and draw them,
and
draw them out.
were you particularly good at it? Did you feel you were good
Yes, I
at it?
was. Yeah, I
Oh,
was. I was. Eventually, I decided to, because we grew up in church, and what I wanted to do, I wanted to use it as a ministry of
oh,
printing them on t-shirts and putting gospel slogans on them.
okay,
That is
okay.
one of the things I wanted to do. Um,
Oh,
but yeah,
and
that
did you
was
do that? Did you do any of
um
that?
I did do a little bit. I again um when my sister Mr. Simpson um when my father, one of his appearance, appearance sort of period,
Hmm.
he asked me, oh, you're getting older, anything, can I help with it? And I told him, and I love the art. So and then we invested, he surprised me with investing into crayons that once you draw them, it has the ability to be pressed onto t-shirts.
All right.
and and I did do a couple of them, and I sold to like family members and
Oh,
stuff. So I did do a little bit of it, but
that's
in the
good.
end, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, but in
That
the
that
end,
that that must have made you feel good, really.
um
Just an achievement.
it did, but then in the end again, the statements of it wasn't good enough,
Okay.
but
Okay.
was still there and was still very present. And
Mm.
for me, I couldn't function under those circumstances.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So after leaving school, then, what sort of work did you end up doing on a
Um,
permanent basis?
I I decided to wanted to go because from the age of 7, I
Okay.
I had a dream that I was gonna live where the Queen lived one day and join the army. From the age of 7, despite everything growing up, I saw her where on one of her royal visits, she and Prince Philip, when they came over to Trinidad, and our school was chosen as one of the schools to line the streets. Um, and my class was chosen, and I was one of the representatives of my class. And yeah, so oh my God, when we were lined the streets where she was passing in her vehicle, and she had on this rose pink outfit, you know, hats, an outfit to match, and in the bulletproof vehicle there, and she was waving, and I was waving back to her, shouting, I'm gonna live where you live one day, and I'm gonna join the army. And my teacher, in those days, you get a little thump behind your head because I was so, I was just in the back, was in the second row.
Yeah.
But to me, I found that she was waving and she was waving to me. So I was like, I was moving my friends, from in the line, and I was bolting to the front line and waving back to her. And my teacher said, stop making some noise, stop,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
get back in line. And I was like, I'm gonna live where you live one day. I'm gonna live where you live.
Oh
And
my God.
yeah, so growing up, that was always still the first, in the back of my mind from the age of 7, that one day I'm gonna be a soldier and live where the Queen lived one day. But
Wow.
but then I didn't get supported, you know, with
Hmm.
my mom, because she's like, when I woke up the morning, I was telling her the dream, and she was thumping me while she was combing my hair, getting ready for school. And she would say, "You're now learning to say your ABCs, or you can't even say your ABCs yet. You're talking about living where the Queen lived and England. You don't even know where it is in the world. You're talking about England. Stop talking your stupidness. Tugging and pulling while she combing the hair. And I'm telling her, Mommy, no, it's because for me it was real, it was so
Yeah.
real. It was just so,
And
and I was
and and I guess you'd seen England somewhat on TV or in the media somehow. You'd seen something of it, you or not?
probably or heard, you
Yeah.
know, I heard it on the news when she came on Independence Day for, our parades and stuff that we used to have.
Hmm.
They used to, announce her, and she used to be there and say,
Hmm.
our our
Hmm.
prince, our Dutch, our queen, and there
Yeah.
she is, and you know, she and
So,
Prince Philip, it was like
wow.
I heard
Wow.
I heard the country, over the years growing up. But
Yeah. Yeah.
honestly, I didn't know where it was, but
No.
I just knew she was from there. And I wanted to be where she was.
So what happened? So what happened? Sort of ultimately after leaving school and needing to gain meaningful employment to know that sort of thing. What happened?
Um, well, in the end, I met a family, my surrogate parents, as I call them, which probably were my and still is my real parents. The only thing is that they didn't, you know, bring me into the world, but they adopted me as their own from the age of
Oh,
from the age of 16. Not,
oh.
yeah. So I met this couple and they took me in from the age of 16, and she knew how much I always wanted to join the army. So we then started to do do things and courses in order to get me signed up to the Defense Force.
Mm,
And I did manage to get to the physical. I passed all the physicals, I passed all the interviews, I passed basically the whole of the training regime, but I never got called. And while I was waiting to go into the Defense Force of Trinidad and Tobago, at the age of, I think I was around 18 or 19 then, I was still waiting, and they saw an advertisement in the papers where I could have gotten a visa. The country, Trinidad, was giving away, or you could have gotten a visa by applying to the embassy and come to England for 2 years to work and study. And we pursued it, and I was successful. And then I found out, again, my father, you know, well, I have to say the man who brought me into the world, because he was
mm.
never a
Yes,
father to me,
I
you know.
understand. Yeah.
Yeah, who brought me into the world, appeared again on one of his social visits, I have to say. And he, you know, he asked me, oh, Maurillia, seriously, what do you, you know, what do you want to do? You know, you're getting older. And I told him, I said, I want to go to England and join the army. Is what I always wanted to do and be. And he just mentioned, by the way, um, you've got an aunt in England. I went, excuse me, like family,
Mm. Real family.
like family.
Yeah.
And he said, yes. He says, your aunt lives in England, Maurillia. Yeah. And I said, well, can I have a number, please? You know, just like that.
Yeah.
And if it's one thing he's ever done in his life, is to give me her number. And from then, I connected with her. Um, and when I told her what I wanted to do and what I was getting through with, and you know, I just needed support with a letter to say I'll have someone to live and I'll have, you know, support in England. And yeah, she did it straight away. Straight away.
Oh,
She did it
oh.
straight away. She didn't hesitate.
I,
And straight away, she said, "Okay, my niece, I'm gonna help you. I'm definitely gonna help you if that is what you want to do." And she did. And
so
she is,
that's your dad's sister, was it?
yes, that was his sister. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Wow. That was a bit of a shock to you, I suppose, at that
Yes, it
time. But
was massive shock because I didn't know we had connections in England at all. I didn't
right.
know because
Yeah.
again, growing up, he wasn't there to
Yeah.
share any stories or
Yeah.
talk much about the family and stuff. So all I knew growing up is that we had family in Grenada,
Okay.
you know, and we have cousins and aunts and uncles and everybody who lives in Grenada, because there is where my grandmother, um, yeah,
Oh, okay.
she was
Okay.
from, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, she
So
was
so
from,
so so was music to your ears then that your auntie was also forthcoming
yeah.
to
Oh my God. Yeah, it was shocking news, and it was, yeah. So when I connected with her and started to speak to her and stuff, she was like, my niece, if I can help my niece, because she didn't know us. She didn't know us. She knew of us, you
okay.
know. Um, she knew she had nieces by her brother. Um, She said 4. She always knew it was 4 of us, but never met us, never knew about us. And yeah, so that was, you know, a privilege.
So what happened
Absolutely.
after that then? Did you sort of immediately come to England, or did you
Well, when I told her, I got through, and she sent all the details and stuff, and and then she said, "Oh, my niece, I don't want you to lose the opportunity," which after I got through from the embassy with the letters and stuff that she assisted me with,
Mm.
it was okay. It was, you know, I had that stench of a 2-year period of the visa to
Mm.
travel. So
Okay.
when I told her, she thought this is when I arrived here, when she told me her story, her part of the story when I got here. She
Mm.
said she didn't want me to lose the opportunity. So she sent tickets straight away. So she sent the ticket, and for instance, Donald, she sent it and she told me, right, niece, the ticket is there. You should go and pick it up downtown by the travel agent that she used. Okay, no problem. Okay, auntie, no problem. Thank you ever so much. So I got up, got dressed, went downtown, Nice Street, all the details. Yeah, everything's correct. And then BB at the time, British West Indian Airlines, you know, our national airlines to fly. And the lady said, and enjoy your flight. I was like, oh, thank you very much, thinking the flight was next month or
Yeah.
next summer weeks. It was the same day.
No.
Yeah, it was like the same day. So I got the ticket in my hand around 11:30,
Yeah.
and the flight was for 6 o'clock that evening. Yeah,
No.
yeah.
And no one told you. I mean, you didn't get that
No,
message. Oh my
no,
goodness.
no, no.
So the big question is then, what happened next?
What happened next? Oh my God, Donald, my friend. Um, well, at that time, as I said, I was never supported from my parents.
Mm.
The only support I really had was my grandmom. She
Mm.
was very, very, very supportive of me. Anything that I wanted to do, anything that I wanted to, you know, to
Mm.
anything, because I was always good with my hands. So she will always try and support me. So when I told my mother that, you know, I want to go to England, I want to, you're not going anywhere. I'm not giving you permission to go anywhere. You this and that. You look at you, you know this. So
Mm.
so when I went and got the ticket that day, and I reached back home, and I told her, I said, "Well, Mom, Auntie sent the ticket for me, and it's for today."
Mm.
She said, "What do you mean today?" I said, "Today for 6 o'clock." So, are you gonna come to the airport to see me off? I don't tell you already. Don't tell you already. I have no permission to go anywhere. I'm not giving you any permission to go anywhere. And you'll see, you if you this and that, if you go, you know, you go ahead with me. And she left. She went downtown in the market, or went down the high street, and she didn't answer me. So the next thing, Granny was like, Rilla, so proud of you. Go and just go and do what you need to do for yourself. And that
Wow.
was it. So I went by my parents where I lived in Port of Spain, the capital of Trinidad. And
Mm.
so I went up and I told them, I said, you know, Daddy, Florine, I got the ticket, Auntie sent it, and it's for tonight. She was like, what do you mean tonight? I said, yeah. She's like, look, the ticket. I said, it's for tonight. I said, so, you know, can I, do you have, you know, well,
Yeah.
what do you have? What do you have in place? I said, well, I have a bag and some clothes. I said, that's it. She went, is England you going? And I went, yeah. I said, well, it's like home, like here. She's like, Maurillia, no, it's not like home. I was like, what do you mean? She, because she traveled in her lifetime, you know. She
Right,
knew.
right.
She
Yeah,
knew.
yeah, yeah.
So she was sort of prepping me, and she was like, no, you will need a jacket. I said, a jacket? I said, for what? She's like, for the winter. I went, what's that? I was like, so it's not like home, like eh? She's like, Maurillia, no. She's like, winter for when the snow falls. I went, you mean the snow real? Snow is real? So, and she went, yes, it's real. I said, well, well, I don't know. And so bless her, she gave me everything she had because she traveled, as I said before, in her lifespan. So she had jackets, she gave me a suitcase, and then her mom, you know, who I called my mom's, you know, who took me in as a granddaughter, and she prepped me as well. She gave me scarves, you know, and it was like the support that I got, you know, was just unreal. And then you know, they were there for me, like right through. They were there for me, as I said, and they still are today.
So you
Um,
actually made the trip on the day?
yeah, yeah, they prepped me and gave me everything that I needed to travel, and took me to the airport, and you know, wished me the best, and you know, just
Wow. So what was that journey like then? I mean, because it's all so new and so everything.
um, it was scary because remember, Donald, I never traveled before. It was my first time. I never was on a plane, so everything was so new, was so unreal but real, you know. And there I was getting this opportunity because my aunt said, you know, my niece wanna come, and she helped me with just telling me, you know, my niece said she wanna come, and yeah, if I can help my niece come, so
So,
be it, you
so
know.
how long was that what journey then?
It was 8.5 hours travel, you know. But again, when I got to England, um,
I'm sorry, I know you're laughing and everything because there is a story there, but like, what time of the year was that? You know what?
it was
Spring,
right,
summer.
Donald. It was January,
Oh,
just after Christmas. It was January 19, you know, just coming up to the millennium. So just coming into 1999. Yeah,
yeah.
just before the millennium. So there I was, you know, coming and I looking at, you know, I've landed in, but when the plane landed, yeah, the the pilot kept saying, um, Heathrow, London, right? He kept saying Heathrow, London. So I kept saying, hearing, they're saying, yep, welcome to Heathrow, London, da 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 da, Heathrow, London, da da da, Heathrow, London. So I sat on the plane thinking it was a stop.
Oh,
Yeah, I didn't undo my belt, my safety. No, I sat there waiting because my aunt told me that I was heading to London, England, not Heathrow, London. So Donald, your girls sit down on the plane. I'm not moving. This is not London, England. My aunt on the ticket, it says Maurillia Simpson, London, England. no, Miss Simpson, you have to come off the plane. This is the destination. And all out they were telling me, Heathrow, London is the same thing. I couldn't get it. I needed to go to London, England to meet my aunt. You know, I was adamant. And then I was like, well, what, you know, it's supposed to be sunny. It's, you know, I just left Trinidad. And they said, no, no. And said, if you don't carry me to London, England, I am not coming off this plane. I'm going to take me back to Trinidad. Take me back to. And everybody was there, baby, surrounded the whole team, security, tunnels, everybody, the pilot, everybody. They telling me you know, trying to convince me the different, and I was like, my aunt, you're not going to like steal me away or take me to somewhere. My aunt told me it's London, England. No, it's not Heathrow, London. It's not Heathrow, London. It's London, England. And I was so determined that,
Oh my God.
you know, but in the end, they said, in order for you to how they got me off the plane is they piled me up with blankets because I came in shorts and t-shirt. And outside it had this black slush. And I was freezing. I was freezing. And I was like, this is not London, England. My aunt waiting on me in London, England. And you guys want me to come off the plane in Heathrow, London. And no, this is so wrong. This is so wrong. I'm going to miss my aunt because she's waiting waiting for me in London, England. And you want me to come off the plane and you're not taking me back to Trinidad because you're telling me I can't go back on the same plane. I have to take another plane. So eventually piled me up with how many? It was about, oh God, it was a lot of blankets to try and get me as warm as possible. And the bus came because we were parked in one of the far, gates. So they got me in and, security guided me because they realized it was my first time traveling and stuff. And they were really polite, but as just adamant all when we walking through and traveling on the bus and coming, it's like, why this plane didn't go to London, England? My aunt is waiting there. And I was crying. Nobody knows me in Heathrow, London. Nobody knows me. When my aunt is waiting for me in London, England, and you bring me to Heathrow, London. So when I got into Heathrow, the guy was helping me, the steward, they stuck with me though. Two of them, female and male, bless them. They helped me with my bag and, guide me through and everything. And then next minute, I heard my name. And I'm like, who know me in this place? This is not Londoning. This is Heathrow, London, and somebody calling. I'm like, and I'm telling them, this is my name. Look, this. And then they checked the passport. It was me and stuff. And they went, okay, let's go because the person is waiting for you. Or it's a message left for you at, the information desk. I said, you guys not going to leave me with this person because I don't know. My aunt is waiting for me in London, England. My aunt is waiting, London, England. And this is not London, this is Heathrow, London. And they said, no, don't worry, Miss Simpson, we're not going to leave you. We're going to stick with you. And there she was. As soon as she turned around and saw me, I was so scared. I was hiding behind you know, the
Really?
baby. Yeah.
Did you know what your aunt looked like?
No,
Oh my God.
Donald, my boy, everything was so brand new, like brand new, everything. All I knew was her voice.
Oh my good. Oh yeah, because you spoke to her on the phone.
Spoke to her on the phone. I never saw her in my life. But then I knew my grandmom because she used to come, you know, she used to come and visit. She used to come and
Mm,
be with us, you know, all the years she was around, you know. And as soon as she turned around, Donald, I said, look, this lady look like Granny,
Really?
but just a dark version.
Yeah.
And I was crying, and she was like, niece, little piece. And she called me what my grandmom
All right.
always.
So you knew it was her from that moment then, really?
I was like, maybe. I said, oh, she knows what Granny used to call me.
All right.
Granny.
That's what you mean. That's what you mean. Yeah, you didn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, little sis, I'm be hiding. So you know, I'm shy. I don't. And then she went, I said, how you know? My granny used to call me that.
Is that
Said,
what you said? Is that what you
yes.
said?
I told her, I said, my granny used to call me that. And she went, I know. She said, I know. She said, Mama used to talk about you guys all the time and always talk about this little piece. And I went, you are my aunt? And she went, yes, niece, I am your aunt. And then after that, all the tears and everything, and we hugged and stuff.
Oh
And
my
then,
goodness. You can imagine all the people around you as well,
yeah,
just witnessing
yeah,
that.
all the security and stuff. And because I was adamant, don't leave me. If you leave me, I'll scream because
Yeah.
nobody knows me in Heathrow, London. And this and yeah. So it was a moment, was a
Oh
definite.
my goodness. So there you were then.
Yeah, it was.
You met up with your aunt, and then you then went out into the big wide
It,
world of either, although it was Heathrow, it was London.
yes, yes. Then she taught me it's the same place. I didn't know Heathrow was part of London,
London.
England.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Wow.
Taught me,
So
yeah.
so then what was it like when you first went out into the cold? Because I mean that's quite something, isn't it?
Well, she bought, bless her heart, she bought jacket for me. She bought scarf for me because she knew she bought a hat for me.
Mm.
Yeah, so
Mm. Did you have far to go
it's
from the airport to home?
she lived South Hall, so it was pretty, you know,
Mm.
on the
Mm.
M25, but
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it was the closest airport to where we lived at the time. So
Right.
yeah.
So what happened after that then? Did you sort of,
Um,
settle in quite well, quite easy, or did you find it
I
difficult?
settled in, and 2 days in the country while watching the news, I saw the advertisement: "Be the best you can, join the British Army."
Oh, right. So how old were you then at the time?
I was about probably, oh my gosh, Donald, I probably was about 21, 22.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, early
Yeah.
20s.
Yeah. So you saw the sign.
Oh, the advertisement. And then I told Auntie, I said, I'm going to join the army. Where's this place? And the recruitment, the closest, the recruitment was in Edgware.
Oh yeah.
And she was like, niece, I live here for over 62 years. She said, I've never traveled, never went to these places. I don't know where this place is. I was like, okay. I said, well, I'll find it. And she was like, huh? She went, what do you mean find it? I said, Auntie, it's one of the things I always wanted to do, is to join the army. And here it is, the advertisement to say, I'm going to find this place. She said, how are you going to find it? I said, well, I'll do they have buses that go there? Do they have trains, or do they have cars that go there? She said, well, I don't drive. I said, well, ask cousin to come and drop me, let's go find a place. And then we did ask him, but he was working at the time, so he didn't have time to drop me. And in a week, and he was only off on a weekend, and they were closed on a weekend. So, and then my cousin, her daughter at the time was still in college or school or university, so it was just me and her, and she didn't want to, she wasn't like me to venture out to places like that, So, when we decided it's okay, if you so adamant you want to go, okay, well, we get a travel card for you and you travel. And I said, okay, fine. So I got my map, got my travel map, and I started to put things in together. And the next Monday, I took my passport, took what I came with, all my papers, all my CV and stuff. And I went out. I said, Auntie, I'm going to join the army. Yeah. And I venture out, and it was about a week in the country. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And I went down because I knew where the train station was. So the closest was Shepherd's Bush. So she took me to there. So I knew where there was. So I jumped on the bus, then I was my normal bus, my 203 heading to Shepherd's Bush. And I jumped on it. And then when I got to the driver and I asked him, I said, I want to go to this place. And he said, well, do you know the trains? I went, no, I only know the buses. He said, okay, what you're going to do is it has a bus, the 603, that goes. You're going to see it and you're going to have to take it. And it would say Edgware. It would go to where you want to go. But I'll drop you out here at this bus stop, and any bus that you see, 603, heading, and it says Edgware, you get on it and ask the driver to drop you. And that's exactly what I did. So I finally, every 603 passed, I jumped on it, but it wasn't it. And I was talking to the driver. So it was a massive learning curve about buses and routes and everything else. And there I was by myself in this big country, going to join the army.
After only a week in this country.
So, and with only a passport and some papers.
Oh my God! In the middle of winter.
In the middle of winter. Yeah.
Wow.
In the middle of winter.
So, so you eventually got to Edgware, did you?
Got to Edgware, recruitment center, and I walked in and I went, and I slammed my passport on the table, and I said, I come to join the army.
Just like that?
Just like that. And they were like, where are you from? Trinidad and Tobago. Just like that, my boy, daughter, my boy, I tell you. And they were like, you didn't come from there today, though. And I was like, no, I came last week. And the recruitment, officer was like, okay, well, let me see what you've got. I said, my passport. And I stood up like
you're in the army already.
Yes. And I'm like, because remember when she used to come, when she came over for her royal visits, I was seeing her on TV, with the defense, with all the so I remember these little things was triggering, and I was like, ready to go, and the sergeant was like, then he said, well, I am Sergeant so, and okay, come in, have a seat, and let's see what we can do for you. And then when I looked, I saw other people there as well. And they said, okay, how long do you have? I said, well, I have whole day. I said, I'm not leaving. And they said, okay, well, you need to do some exams and, maths and English and social, social events and stuff. I said, no problem. I sat down and waited my turn, came around, and I noticed I filled out my form and I put all my details in where I'm living and stuff. And I did the business. So I wrote the maths, English, had some social questions, did that. And at the time, that was the only force I knew about. They didn't mention RAF, Navy, they didn't mention nothing. The only force I knew about at the recruitment center was the Army. So, and then they said, okay. I said, well, what you? I said, well, I love driving and I love communications. So, if I can do the two, I'd be one of the happiest persons in the world. And then they told me about the signals, royal signals. They said, well, the marks that I made, I may have to do some studies because I need to get a couple more points in order to go into the signals regiment. But I've made high scores, and it has another regiment you could go into, which is the Royal Logistic Corps.
Okay.
And there you'd be able to do driving as well as communications. And I was like, sign me up. And they were like, are you sure? I said, yes, sign me up. And that was it, babes. That was it.
Oh my God.
And then by the time I came out of the recruitment center, it was dark. So, and then I didn't have didn't have nothing about mobile phone or nothing. So auntie was worried, my cousin was worried, didn't know, what had happened, if I got lost and I couldn't find my way back home and all of that. But I didn't know if they were, all I knew is that I was signing up and I was getting through and stuff. And so I jumped back on the bus and the night bus and came back. And once I reached Southall High Street, I knew where I was. So I jumped out and the bus stop, and I ran down the road. And when I got home and I opened the door, I said, Auntie, would you squeeze me? I could have hardly breathed because she thought something had happened. And, in this big country, 7 days, and I'm going out there, and I like, no, I was fine. And I was like, Auntie, you're stifling. Because she's just like Granny, tall and her limbs are long and yeah. So I said, I joined the army. She says, what do you mean? I said, Auntie, I joined the army. And she was like, what? She went, we need to discuss this. So she got me warmed up with a nice, she used to make a lovely glass of hot chocolate. So I got in, hot chocolate was waiting, bless her. And she's like, tell me what actually happened. I said, Auntie, I found a place. I found it. It's Edgeware Recruitment Center. I met Sergeant so, and I showed her all my notes I took and everything. And when she saw, registered for the British Army, she was like, niece, you have taught me so much things today. She said, there you were, stranger in a new country, and you were determined. You found a place. All it was advertisement on television, and you took every time it came around. Every time, it didn't stay long. That was, because you have to catch these things pretty fast. So I had my pen and paper waiting every day. It came up, to finish, take all the notes and the location and get everything, the address and where to go. And And she said you were always, every day you were there up waiting in front of that television. You got the address and then you were ready. You made up your mind. You were going to join the army and you did. I said, yeah, I did. She went, niece, I am so proud of you, like so proud of you.
Wow.
Yeah. And that is when she said, I taught her to get out a bit more. So then she started to travel.
Really?
Yeah. She started to learn places like Wembley and stuff. She, Wimbledon. She never used to travel, she only went where she needed to go. Yeah. Over the years, because she was a teacher. So she only went where she needed to go, things with school. She came home and did her prep for the next day. And then she was gone again, so it wasn't like if she was working in in an environment where she could have gone out, because on the weekends we used to go to church, but then she used to just prep, did do her school prep Saturday, Sunday was church, then Sunday dinner, then prep again to go back out Monday morning, So
Yes. So there you were then, after a week of being in the country.
Yeah.
Joined the army.
Yes. Yes.
Oh God.
Yeah.
What up next?
What up next? Well, I was waiting to get called up. So then it took about 12 and a half months, because
really
they had batches. They said they kept informing me though, that, unfortunately, that they had already batches already prepared to go in, which I didn't, that wasn't explained to me by Sergeant, I think it was Sergeant Campbell was his name. It just came back to me, Sergeant Campbell. And all I knew is that he put my name down and he said, I'm going to be updated and they're going to tell me when I need to come in and pledge allegiance and say my pledge and everything else. So yeah, darling, I waited about 12 months. So in that 12 months, I was, I wanted to get my hands into things. I want, because that's the person I am. I was always a up and get up person, get up and do things person.
But you were also unemployed.
Yes, exactly.
So I mean,
exactly,
getting a wage and earning some money. I mean,
yeah. So then I started to find out what I needed. So I got appointments to get my national insurance number, which was really good, was fast as well. Because I had my visa, I had all my, I didn't come in and was overstay, I was legal in the country. So I went and I got little things sorted. So I got my national insurance number. Then I joined the TA. So I did TA for a bit to
Did you really?
Yeah, to get a sort of sense of what the army is going to be like, because we had a TA center just down the road from where we lived in Southall,
Okay.
on the bridge. So that was really nice. So I walked in, I rang the bell, walked into the gate, went to the office, and I told them my situation. I said, I've joined the army and I'm waiting to get selected, on my batch to go in. And I want to know if I can join and, join just to get a taste of what I'm going to be experiencing, and they said, okay, let them check, if I have the legal requirements to and to join. And I did. And then that was it. The next Tuesday, I was in the gate. They said, walk with, no, it was a weekend. Was a weekend. So I went in on the Friday and they said, you're gonna spend Friday, Saturday, Sunday and come in and you're gonna stay. This is your bunk, this is where you're gonna sleep and stuff, but you have to know you gotta get up certain times and stuff. And I was like, oh my God, okay. So then I got coveralls to wear, and so it was literally parade Sean, and I was learning, proper recruitment and stuff. So I got an idea, for that period of what it was going to be like,
Right.
Yeah.
So after 12 and a half months or thereabouts, were you called up by the army?
January, they got hold of me and told me to come in. And then my mom came over, bless her. Well, not mom, but my mom, Florine. She,
So I'm trying to understand. Is that your adopted mother or your real
yeah,
mother?
my adopted mom, my
Okay.
adopted mom. Yeah, Florine. She came over, and because I told her, I said, "Babe, but you're in the army, and I would like you to be there." She went, "I can't believe this thing. 12 months in the country, and you've done you Maurillia, you are something else, man." She said, "Why you didn't come to England and do knitting? You joined something where you're keeping me on my knees, yeah." So she was proud, but she was very like, you
Yeah,
better
yeah, yeah,
go
yeah.
in there and be safe and da da da. She said, "Don't go fighting any wars. You know what you like. You will volunteer, you know." She said, "You will volunteer. You'd be front and center, you know." She knew me so good. I said, "Yep,
Yeah,
I'll be there, front and
yeah.
center." So yeah, my darling. So she came up for my swearing in, and I was so happy she was there, and we swore in, and she was so proud on the 4th of January. And then I was in, yeah, I was in Purbright by the 12th, by the 12th
Wow.
of January. And the next couple of weeks to go into basic training in Purbright. Yeah.
So what a journey so far. I mean, that's amazing. So there you are in Purbright. Did they say you were going to be there for a particular number of
Yeah,
weeks or
yeah,
whatever?
12,
How long was
12
that for?
weeks. 12,
12 weeks.
12 weeks, yeah, yeah.
Square bashing, as they call it.
Square bashing, my dear, square bashing, yes.
How was that?
Oh my God. It was hard because remember at the time I came over, and every day, just going back a little bit, my cousin said, if you join the army, you can't be going sounding the way you do.
Meaning what?
My accent, it was
Oh,
really
I see. Okay.
harsh, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So she used to teach me so much, you know, how to slow down and pronounce things that people understand a bit better. So I got a family training school of how
Is
to
that right?
speak. Yeah, 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 yeah. Every day. And she's younger than me,
Yeah.
but every day she will say, Rilla, Rilla, no, you have to say it like this. And this is and she's like, what is this? What did Rilla? Yeah, yeah. So I had it all. She was like, I have to prep you. She said, because you're going into the army and I don't want you embarrassing me. But she come in and I come in and I this and I that and I come in and singing. She says singing. This singing thing. This yeah, yeah. This way you're singing all the time. She's like,
Oh
no
my
singing,
God.
no singing, no.
Right.
So
Did you find that helped quite a bit?
it did. It did help a lot. Although I
Okay.
still had to be repeating myself because when I
Mm.
got excited about anything,
Yeah.
it came out.
The
Yeah,
natural Trinidadian comes out,
it
innit?
just
Yeah, I
came
understand.
out, and I heard her in my to slow down, Rilla, to slow down, to slow down. Yeah, so
Uh,
eventually I got used to just talking, speaking at a pace where
mm,
they understood. Although
mm,
some of them took the mickey out of me all the time, no matter how slow I spoke. They
right.
yeah, they
Yeah.
called me a foreigner anyway. So
Yeah.
so yeah, and
So
treated
what?
me as such.
So the 12 weeks was just like that, or was it pretty tough?
Um,
Or what?
no, it was pretty tough, Donald. Yeah, it didn't have much black black women there. I was the only black, in the recruitment. They had
You were
mixed
the only
race,
one.
only black as in black, you
Yes.
know. Yeah, it had some mixed race girls there, but
Mhm.
but I was the only black female in
And what was the size of the intake?
it was, oh my God, 36,
Okay.
36 of us.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was 36 of us, Morley troop. Yeah,
mm,
36 of us.
So
Yeah.
all of a sudden, it's quite a physical sort of endeavor.
Well, the
And
physical was fine because I
mhm,
always was an athlete. I was all by that, I always used to play sports. So the
mhm.
physical bit was fine, was just learning how to do new things, new
Okay.
physical things, you
Mm,
know. Whereas before was just running, netball, football,
mm,
basketball.
mm.
But yeah, learning how to do new sports and new activities that I never did before in my
And
life.
one of those activities I would imagine is shooting a rifle.
Shooting a rifle, going over obstacle course, climbing the ropes and doing pull-ups and press-ups and sit-ups. I didn't used to do much of that before,
No,
but I
no, 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 no.
didn't know about them. And
Yeah.
yeah, so going through that process and doing a lot of running. Whereas for netball, you run in a court and then that's it. You run for
Mm,
certain quarters and then that's it.
mm,
And if I felt for a run, I'll just go for a little bimble, a little
mm,
2 miles or something on a Saturday morning, and then come
mm.
back home. Not
Yeah.
going for 8, 10 miles or have weight
Yes.
on my back and walking
Right.
all those distances and stuff in boots, you know,
Wow. Massive
and
difference.
sneakers, totally different. So yeah, yeah.
So what did it feel like during the whole that 12 weeks then? Was there any point that you think, oh my goodness, this army is not for me? With all their dreams of from being 7. You,
Um, all I knew, Donald, is that I was doing this for me and my family.
okay.
So it had moments where I did have issues with racism. It started from there with one of the section commanders, and all how he told me my nephew is black, and I just didn't believe him. I was just like, yeah, whatever, because it just seems like if he was always picking on me again, the mental block of not being good enough, you know,
Okay.
the
Okay.
mental things of excuse anything I did, he made me feel like if I didn't put enough effort or I didn't was still not good enough. No
Mm,
matter how I ironed my kit and I was one of the smartest there still, or you could have done this or this always
mm.
had something that he particularly would pick on where everybody else was fine, you know.
Okay.
And
Okay.
but
I
he
understand that.
he
I understand that.
particularly was like that. So for me, I had and that's when I kind of realized, hold on, this is a total different journey, because having white people live in Trinidad, it's like having a brother live in Trinidad, because the only thing is that they're a little fairer than me, but they sound like me. They're Trinidadians.
Mm.
So for me, knowing white people wasn't the issue, and being around them wasn't the issue, you know. But being here in England and living with white people and being around white people was totally different. And they kept reminding me of the difference, from day one, that you are like this and we are like this, you know? And that started to become a shock to
So
me.
from that, did you feel that like to be made to be inferior in any way? Did you feel like that at all?
Um, it just made me feel different. And I couldn't understand why they kept like segregating. You are like this and we are like that,
Okay.
you know? And it's like if they never brought us together at all, never brought myself and them together. So
Mm,
for me,
mm,
when I went to my regiment, when I left basic training and I found out I was going to Deep Cut, 25 training regiment to start my official journey after after my pass out and parade. Um, that is what was instilled in my head, that they were like that and I was like this.
Okay.
So when I got to my regiment, 25, then I saw other Caribbean people was there.
Okay.
You know, they had intakes from St. Vincent, Jamaica, had some Grenadians there, Africans were there, Fijians were there, you know. So I had support, and I knew, you know, people of my people, my, you know, countrymen and women there from the Caribbean. But then on the other hand, I couldn't join the whole experience because in the back of my mind, I'm being taught that they are like this and I am like that, you know?
Okay.
Never had a union. It never had, I am part of Morley Troop. It was always this reminder of they are like this and I am like that. And every time I try to ask a question about it and stuff, they will always kind of fob me off, you know? So I could have never joined. You are part of the army. You are part of the army. So you are a British soldier. That's your title, British soldier. You know, I never felt that ownership. Never felt it from day one. Yeah. Never felt it.
Wow. So how long did you spend at they said Deep Cut or?
Yeah, Deep Cut. I spent, oh my God, almost a year there, because there is where you go and you find out what trade you wanted to do. So I was a driver communication specialist. So then I needed to start learning my trade. So you take, yeah, however long you take to be in training. You took that time. So that was your first home. That was literally your first home.
How was that for you? Oh, how was the whole year in training?
It was tough. It was tough. Because then I saw racism to another level, where you know you got all the name calling. It had a lot of name calling. You know, you and then the segregation was felt more than you people, and it's always you people and you people.
How did you feel? Did you wanted to retaliate at any point at that time? Or?
No, I just used to ask questions, because growing up, my I'm not going to tell you my nickname as a child, because I'll never live it down. But let's say I always had, they said I always had a hot mouth, I'd never settle, and I will always want to know everything, so I was always, as parents would say, I was always fast.
Okay, yeah.
I was always fast, so curious. I was always curious. Out of the four of us, out of the four girls, I always wanted to know why. Like, okay, why? Why? I want to know why, every time, why? So it never left. It got more curiosity. It's like, what do you mean by you people? I used to put my hand up and, they would ask, anybody have any questions? And I would go, bang, tabs in. Excuse me, Sergeant. Excuse me, Corporal. What do you mean by you people?
So I guess after a while you become a marked person?
I was. And that, well, I didn't know. I didn't know that made me marked. It did make me marked. Yeah. And then I realized, then one of the other girls, well, one of my my teammates who was white told me, we became really close friends. Excuse. And she said, Maurillia, stop asking these questions, because that is why you're getting all of these, punishments, like extra guard duty. And you have to go work, in the store in the armory and cleaning weapons, and you know, that's why you're getting all of this done to you, because you keep asking questions. And I kept asking, well, why don't they just answer me? You know, why? And then she said, they would never answer you. Just accept it. I went, no, I'm not accepting it. Yeah. I said, no. She said, well, then you will always get punished. I said, well, if that is how it have to be, so be it. So yes, I was always in the Sergeant Major's office. I was always in front of the OC.
Wow.
And it was always the reports was always behavioral issues.
So after a year at Deep Cut, then what happened? Where did you go?
Well, I passed all my driver training, and I passed my course, my RADOPS course, my radio operating course, and then I was posted a week later, that same month. It was in November, 2001, and I went to Germany.
Germany of all places.
Germany of all places, yeah.
So when you heard you were going to Germany, in terms of, leaving Trinidad, coming to England, and somebody said you're going to Germany, what was that like in your head?
All I focused on, to be honest, with my naivety at the time, I was just focusing on just staying on camp, getting my head down, doing what I need to do, and leaving there. So that was my focus. I wasn't focused on, of course, it's Germany, another language, other people, and because to me, the experience I had home here was enough. Well, I thought so anyway. Was enough to keep me, to sort of make me aware of what to expect, if you know what I mean.
Right, yeah. So there you are, all of a sudden, in Germany.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Oh my God, again. Donald, I think my journey, I don't know if being Black and female was one of my things. Again, I was the only Black female there at my regiment. They had Black guys there, but not Black women. So again,
were they the white female?
It was loads of white females there.
Okay.
Yeah. It had some South Africans, it had some Australians. It had from different countries. Well, I was the only Black female there, only Black female in my regiment and squadron, at the time. Again.
So what about so looking at going from Deep Cut to Germany, there you are in Germany.
Yeah.
What experience was that like in terms of, in different land, different language? Did you find yourself embracing that, or were you just thinking about the army and getting on with the army or whatever?
I was just thinking about the army and what it's gonna be like, because England had already prepped me. Well, coming over had already prepped me for the winter. It was January. This is, when did I go there? November. So it's me experiencing my first official winter, So I got to, and I heard it's worse in Germany. Well, that was one of the things my auntie told me. It's the cold is worse and colder in Germany.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So she prepped me verbally, but then home had already gave me the experience of winter. So it's not that I was going and see winter again for the first time. So winter for me was winter. So that was nowhere close to there. The only thing was then the language. I said, well, I'm gonna do the best I can because I guess everybody speaks English to some extent. So in the back of my mind, I was like, I was willing to learn. I would love to learn a new another language, which would be nice, you know.
Okay.
But I'm gonna try and communicate as best I could, because it was my job and it's what I love doing. And
Okay.
I'm a people person. So that part of it, I wasn't too concerned, you know. But what was my main concern was the army and how it was actually going to be, you know, what
So
my
how was it? I
experience
mean,
was going to be.
yeah. So how was it in terms of, first of all, how long did you spend in Germany, and what did you do in the time? Did you actually go anywhere while you were there on,
Yes,
what attachments?
yes, I did. All of the above, my dear, all of the above. When I got to there, it had at the time they had little snippets of talking about Iraq. No, it was Oman. Oman at the time. Yeah, talking about Oman. And that they had the regiment that I went to, they had deployed already, some of them, and they had another batch to deploy again to Oman. So that was one of my immediate things, to support that movement of colleagues who were heading to Oman, learning how to get the trucks ready, the radio equipment ready, to box things up and help, go on to get it under the crate and drive the vehicles to get it down to where it needed to be on the port. Yeah, so I was learning a lot of things. So treatment wise, or even little things that I would have time to stop and pick up. I didn't pick it up, but I knew straight away from day one. So I got in to the sergeant's office, and straight away it was like an atmosphere of just taking the piss, taking the mickey. I said my name was Maurillia Simpson, and straight away they took the surname, and then, oh, so you're Bart then? Is that your name, Bart? And I couldn't, those, comments. Oh,
Yeah.
no, she looks like Homer. He.
Really?
Yeah. So straight away on my first initial meeting up with the senior staff, I knew straight away. And then, they wanted to know how old I was. And then I was older than all of them. The majority of them I was older than, you know. So, you know, one was already a sergeant, and he was 20 something. He was just 20 something, and I was coming up to my late 20s, coming up to 30. So all that time it was just being, little snippets of being bullying for, and then to being the only black person, and it was like, oh, I wonder what she gonna be like, and then certain things, it was, one of them said, oh, you wouldn't need any, oh, she wouldn't need any what we used to put on our face,
Sunscreen, you mean?
yeah, oh gosh, exercise cream,
Oh,
com
yes.
combat cream. Yeah.
Yes.
They said, no, she wouldn't need that. She probably only will need it in her teeth, in to cover her teeth and her eyes.
Oh my
So
goodness.
statements like that. But I didn't pick up. I didn't know, because that was like, to me, a different level, a different degree. Whereas then one of the guys, the lance corporals, when he heard them, he was one of the ones who was really good to me, and generous to me.
Is this a white or black person?
A white guy.
Yeah.
White guy. Yeah, and he came up to me and he said, Simi, I'm not being funny, but I don't think they're supposed to be doing things like this, or doing things like that. So I suggest you start making notes and start saying something about it, because I don't think they should be doing what they're doing to you. And I've heard the comments and I don't think it's funny. And I was like, oh, thank you very much. I didn't, it's my first time experiencing this thing, this in a fashion like this. I said, I've never had this sort of treatment before. So, I wouldn't know where to start or what to do. And then I started to obviously defend myself after he told me that. And I started taking notes and stuff. And then, well, obviously again, as per Bright, I was marked. I was marked with on my Y's, and I don't like this, and Sergeant, I don't like this, and Sarge, I don't like this, And straight away, I was getting all the duties. Again, everything I did was share. They, excuse my language. It wasn't good enough. They always had a problem with what I did. I'm dunce. I don't understand things straight away. Why you do not getting it? Everybody else is getting it. And why you this, and you always late, and always behind, and we always waiting on you, and always this,
We found
And
that there was a fault with everything that you did. That's the period.
Correct.
Yeah. Did you find yourself going to Amman? Was it Amman? Did you say? Did you go?
Oman? No.
Oman.
No. No, I didn't end up going in the end. So we sent out all the equipment that they needed, the guys needed, and so I just continued working in the regiment.
So did you go off to, you mentioned Iraq? Did you go to Iraq?
Yes, after my first year and a half being there, then the signal, we got the signal that Iraq was potentially kicking off. They mentioned it, but they said it's just a mention, but just be aware in the near future it may happen, and may this and may that. But at that time I haven't been home in, I think, 4 or 5 years.
Really?
Yeah. So this is coming up to 2003. So I left home 99, 2001, 2, 3. Yeah.
So when you say home, you're talking Trinidad, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had planned to go home because I got holidays, and I did duties, Easter duties, and I did summer duties while everybody else was away. And I stayed and did that. So when they came back in August, then I went, and I got about 6 weeks off. Yeah. So
Wow.
Yeah.
Maurillia, we're gonna have to make this part 1.
Okay, baby, right.
And we're gonna have to reconvene for part 2, because I know
let's see.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
So listen, if you don't mind, let's make this the end of part 1.
No, baby, this sounds great, babe. Sounds great.